My headlamp died 3 tunnels ago. I'm using my phone now, 4% battery. The light barely reaches the walls. They're limestone, wet, covered in something I don't want to look at too closely. Behind me, the tunnel keeps going. Ahead of me, the tunnel keeps going. I stopped hearing Julian 10 minutes ago, or maybe it was an hour. Time doesn't work the same down here. I shouldn't have followed him through that chatty air. The narrow tunnel, the one you have to crawl through on your stomach, the one that's so tight your shoulders scrape both sides. But he said it led to the GRS, the Great Southern Network, 280 kilometers of tunnels that most cataphiles only dream about accessing. He said he knew the way. Julian was wrong. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm a documentary filmmaker, or I was, up there, above ground, in Paris, where the sun exists and streets have names and you can pull out your phone and know exactly where you are. Down here, none of that matters. My phone has no signal. The GPS just shows a blank screen. No satellites can reach through 20 meters of limestone and 6 million bodies. 6 million, that's how many people are buried down here. Their bones line the walls, they're stacked in patterns. Femurs and skulls are arranged like wallpaper. Tibias form archways. Some sections have plaques, street names. Rue Henry Barbas, Boulevard Saint Mitchell. Markers tell you what part of Paris you're under, if you can find them, if your light holds out, if you don't get turned around in the sections that all look the same. I came to Paris 3 weeks ago to film a piece about urban exploration. The cataphiles, the community of people who illegally enter these tunnels, who map the unmapped sections, who throw parties in rooms filled with bones, who spend 7, 8 hours underground just walking, exploring, existing in a space that the living aren't supposed to occupy. They were careful about who they talked to. Cataphiles hate journalists. They hate cameras. They hate anything that might expose their secret entrances. But I found Julian through a friend of a friend, 26 years old. He'd been exploring for 8 years. He knew the catacombs better than he knew Paris above, or that's what he told me. We entered at 11 p.m. through a manhole on Rue de la Tomissoir. We climbed down a metal ladder, 30 meters straight down. My hands were shaking. The sound of traffic faded with every rung. By the time we reached the bottom, the city above was gone. It was replaced by silence. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears, that makes you aware of your own breathing, your own heartbeat. "Stay close," Julian said. His miner's lamp cast a warm glow, not lead. Cataphiles prefer the old-fashioned kind. They explode sometimes, but the light is better, more natural, less harsh. The tunnels near the entrance are mapped, but where we're going is different. "Different how?" I asked. He smiled. "You'll see." We walked for maybe 20 minutes. The tunnel was wide at first, high enough to stand. There were signs on the walls, arrows, graffiti. Some of it was artistic. Murals painted years ago by people who'd spent hours down here with brushes and paint. Some of it was crude, tags, names, dates, proof that someone had been here, had existed in this space. The bones started gradually. A skull here, a femur there. They were placed on ledges, arranged in patterns. Then suddenly we turned a corner and the walls were made of them, floor to ceiling. Thousands of bones, tens of thousands. So many you stopped seeing them as individual pieces. They became texture, background, the architecture of death. I filmed everything. Julian narrated. He explained the history, how the cemeteries above ground had become too full, how in 1786 they started moving bodies down here, how it took decades to relocate all the dead, how the tunnels had been limestone quarries before that. They were mined since Roman times. 300 kilometers of passages under Paris. Most of them were restricted, illegal to enter, but the cataphiles didn't care about legality. "This is the official section," Julian said, gesturing to a room where bones formed columns. Skulls were arranged in crosses. "Tourists can visit this part. Maybe 2 kilometers of tunnels. The rest," he pointed into the darkness, "the rest is ours." We kept walking. The tunnels narrowed, the ceiling lowered, the signs stopped appearing. Julian moved with confidence. He turned left, then right, then left again. I tried to memorize the route. I tried to count the turns. But after the 15th or 20th, I gave up. I was completely dependent on him. That's when we reached the Chatière. A hole in the wall, maybe 60 centimeters wide, 30 centimeters high, barely big enough for a person. Julian got on his stomach. He pushed his bag ahead of him. He started crawling. "You coming?" His voice echoed from inside. I hesitated. This wasn't what I'd signed up for. The documentary was supposed to be about accessible exploration, not squeezing through holes in the dark. "The GRS is on the other side," Julian said. "You'll never get another chance like this." I crawled in. The tunnel was tighter than it looked. My shoulders scraped the sides, my backpack caught on the ceiling. I had to wiggle, push, pull. The limestone was wet, cold. It soaked through my shirt, my jacket. I could smell the earth. Old, mineral. It was mixed with something else. Decay. Julian's light was ahead. Moving, I followed it. I pushed forward. The tunnel curved. It got tighter. For a moment, I thought I was stuck. I couldn't move forward. I couldn't move back. I couldn't breathe. But then something gave. The tunnel widened. I pulled myself through. We were in a chamber, large, maybe 10 meters across. The ceiling was high enough to stand. Bones covered every surface. They weren't arranged, just piled, heaped in corners, scattered across the floor. This wasn't the official section. This was something else, somewhere deeper, somewhere the public would never see. "Welcome to the GRS," Julian said. He was grinning, proud, like he'd just shown me a secret no one else knew. I filmed it all. I panned the camera across the walls, the ceiling, the floor, the bones, so many bones. Then I noticed something. Julian's face had changed. The smile was gone. "Do you hear that?" he asked. I listened. At first nothing, just the silence. Then something faint, distant, like breathing, but not quite, like something moving, shifting. It was coming from deeper in the tunnels. "What is it?" I asked. "I don't know," Julian said, and for the first time he sounded unsure, scared. "We should go." He turned back to the Chatière. He put his hands on the opening. Then he stopped. "It's sealed," he said. "What?" "The hole, there's a rock blocking it from the other side." My stomach dropped. How is that possible? "I don't know." He was pulling at the rock, trying to move it. It wouldn't budge. Someone must have. I don't know. Maybe it fell, maybe. The sound came again. Closer now. Definitely movement. Definitely not wind, not water, something else. "Find another exit," I said. Julian nodded. He moved to the far wall. There were 3 openings, 3 tunnels leading away from the chamber. He checked his map. An old piece of paper, hand-drawn, passed down from other cataphiles. He studied it for a long moment. "This way," he said finally. He pointed to the left tunnel. We went left. The tunnel sloped downward. It got colder, wetter. The walls were no longer limestone. They were something else. Darker, older. The bones here were different too. Broken, scattered, like they'd been disturbed. We walked for 10 minutes, 15. The tunnel branched. Julian checked his map again. He chose right. We kept walking. The sound behind us continued. Sometimes it was loud, sometimes it was faint, but it was always there, always following. "Are we going in circles?" I asked. "No, the map shows." "Julian, I've seen that skull formation before, 20 minutes ago." He stopped. He looked at the wall. His face went pale. "That's not possible." But it was. We were lost. Somewhere in 300 kilometers of unmapped tunnels with something behind us and no way back. That's when my headlamp went out. Julian's light was still working, for now, but I could see his miner's lamp flickering. The flame was dying. We had maybe an hour of light left, maybe less. "We need to find an exit," I said. "Any exit." I know, let me think." But thinking wasn't helping. The map was useless. We'd gone too deep, too far off the marked paths. We were in sections that maybe nobody had explored, or maybe people had explored them and never came back. I thought about Philibert Aspert, the story every cataphile knows, the doorkeeper at Val de Grace Hospital who entered the catacombs in 1793. He was looking for liquor hidden by monks. He got lost. His body was found 11 years later. It was identified by the hospital key ring on his belt. He died meters from an exit, but in the dark, he'd walked right past it. 11 years. "We're not going to die down here," Julian said, like he was reading my mind. "People know I'm down here. If I don't come back, they'll search." "Where?" I asked. 300 kilometers of tunnels, some sections flooded, some collapsed. "How long do you think they'll search before they give up?" He didn't answer. We kept walking. Julian was in front, I was behind. The light from his miner's lamp cast our shadows on the walls, long, distorted. They were moving like they were alive. Then Julian stopped. "Do you see that?" he asked. Ahead on the wall, something dark. Not bone, not limestone, something else. We got closer. It was writing, fresh, done in what looked like charcoal or maybe something else, something darker. 3 words. "Turn back now." Below it, scratched into the limestone. "You're going the wrong way." "Who wrote this?" I asked. Julian shook his head. "I don't know. It's not on the map. This section shouldn't even have people in it." "Maybe it's old," I said. "It's not old." He touched the writing. His fingers came away black. "This was done recently, hours ago, maybe less. So someone else is down here." "Or someone was," he said. The sound came again, from behind us. Louder now, close enough that I could almost identify it. Almost, but not quite. It was wet, organic, like something dragging itself across stone. Julian's lamp flickered, once, twice. The flame wavered. "We need to move," he said. We moved, past the warning, deeper into the tunnels. The walls were changing. The bones were arranged differently, not stacked, not piled, scattered like something had thrown them, broken them. The floor was covered in debris, rocks, fragments of skull, bits of clothing. Then we saw the first body. Not bones, not something from the 1700s. Recent, a backpack, modern North Face, blue with yellow stripes. It was lying in the middle of the tunnel, half open. Its contents were spilled out. A water bottle, empty, a flashlight, dead batteries, a phone. The screen was cracked, and next to it boots, hiking boots. They were still laced, still worn. But no person. "Oh God," Julian whispered. I picked up the phone. I tried to turn it on. Nothing. Dead. The screen was shattered like something had stepped on it or something had crushed it. The backpack had slash marks, 3 parallel cuts through the fabric, deep, like claws. "We need to leave," I said, "right now." "Which way?" he asked. I didn't know. Neither did Julian. His map was useless. His miner's lamp was dying. My phone was at 4%. We were lost, completely, utterly lost. And something was hunting us in the dark. Julian's lamp went out. Not slowly, not gradually. One moment we had light. The next moment we had darkness, complete, total. The kind of dark that doesn't exist above ground. The kind that presses against your eyes, that makes you wonder if you've gone blind. I fumbled for my phone, 3% battery. The screen lit up, barely. A weak glow that reached maybe 2 meters. Not enough, not nearly enough. "Don't move," Julian said. His voice was shaking. "I have matches in my bag." I heard him moving, the sound of a zipper, rustling fabric, then silence. "Julian," I called out. "They're not here." "What?" "My matches. I had a box, I know I did. I put them in the front pocket. They're gone." "Check again." More rustling, more searching. Then a sound I didn't want to hear, a sob. Julian was crying. "They're not here," he said. "I don't know how. I checked before we entered. I had them. I swear I had them." I looked at my phone, 2%. The battery icon was red. It was flashing, dying. "We need to move," I said. "Find an exit before this dies." "Which way?" he asked. Good question. In complete darkness, direction means nothing. Forward, backward, left, right. They're all the same when you can't see, when you don't know where you came from or where you're going. I chose randomly. I pointed the phone at one of the tunnels leading away from where we stood. I started walking. Julian followed. His hand was on my shoulder, gripping tight, like if he let go, he'd float away into nothing. The phone screen showed the walls. Limestone, wet, bones were embedded in the surface. They weren't arranged, just there, part of the structure, part of the geology. The floor was uneven, rocks, debris. I almost tripped twice. I caught myself on the wall. My hand came away wet, cold. It was covered in something that felt like slime. "How long until they search for us?" I asked. "I told my roommate I'd be back by 6 a.m., Julian said. "What time is it now?" I checked my phone, 3:42. "So 2 hours." "And how long after you don't come back does he call the police?" I asked. Silence. "Julian, how long?" "He won't call the police," Julian admitted. "He's cataphile too. He knows if the police find out I was down here, I get fined, arrested maybe. He'll call other cataphiles. They'll organize a search. But it takes time. They have to find the entrance I used, figure out which route I took. They won't find us until tomorrow night, maybe later." Tomorrow night, 36 hours from now. My phone would be dead in minutes. We'd be in complete darkness for 36 hours. No food, no water, no light. Just bones and silence and whatever was making that sound behind us. The sound, I'd almost forgotten about it, but it was still there. Following, always the same distance away, never getting closer, never getting farther, just there. "What do you think it is?" I asked. "I don't want to think about it," he said. "We need to." "It's nothing," Julian said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Water, or air moving through the tunnels, or—" "It's not water." "Then what?" he asked. I didn't answer, because the truth was, I didn't know. And the things I was imagining were worse than any answer I could give. The phone screen flickered. 1%, I stopped walking. Julian bumped into me. What? The battery's dying. We need to find somewhere to wait, a room, a chamber, somewhere we can sit until the search starts. We should keep moving. Find an exit, he said. In the dark, we'll get more lost. We'll walk in circles. We'll waste energy. We need to conserve, stay in one place, wait for rescue. Julian was quiet for a long time. Then, okay. We found a small chamber, maybe 3 meters across. The walls were stacked bones, floor to ceiling. Femurs formed horizontal lines. Skulls filled the gaps. Hundreds of skulls. Empty eye sockets stared at nothing, at us, at the darkness. I sat down, my back was against the wall, bones pressed against my spine. Julian sat next to me, close, like children afraid of monsters, which I suppose we were. The phone died. Darkness swallowed us. Have you ever experienced true darkness? Not night, not a dark room, true darkness, the absence of all light. Your eyes try to adjust. They search for something, anything, the faintest glow, the smallest variation, but there's nothing. Your brain starts to make things up, shapes, movement, phantom lights at the edge of your vision, hallucinations born from desperation. I don't know how long we sat there. Time lost meaning. Minutes felt like hours. Hours felt like minutes. I tried to count seconds. I lost track. I started over. I lost track again. Julian was breathing next to me. Fast, panicked. He was hyperventilating. Calm down, I said. You're wasting oxygen. I can't breathe. The walls are closing in. I can feel them. Moving, getting closer. They're not moving, I said. How do you know? You can't see. He was right, I couldn't see. For all I knew, the walls were moving. The chamber was shrinking. The bones were reaching out to pull us into their embrace. Tell me about the first time you came down here, I said. I was trying to distract him, trying to distract myself. What? He asked. Your first time in the catacombs, what was it like? He was quiet. Then, I was 18. My girlfriend brought me. She was cataphile. She'd been exploring for years. She took me through an entrance near Denfortrachero, the official entrance. But we didn't stay on the tourist path. We went deeper, into the restricted sections, and I felt something, like I'd come home. Like I'd been searching for this place my whole life without knowing it. What happened to her? I asked. We broke up. She moved to Lyon, but I kept coming back every weekend, sometimes more. I'd spend whole nights down here, walking, exploring, mapping tunnels nobody else knew about. I felt more alive down here than I ever did above ground. Do you still feel that way? I asked. Another pause. No. The sound came again. Closer this time, much closer. Right outside our chamber, we could hear it clearly now. Breathing, wet, labored, like something struggling, like something sick. Julian grabbed my arm. His fingers were digging in. What is that? I don't know, I said. Is it human? He asked. I listened. The breathing had a rhythm. In, out, but it was wrong somehow, too slow, too deep. And underneath it, another sound, scraping, like claws on stone. I don't think so, I whispered. The breathing stopped. Silence. Complete silence. It was worse than the breathing, because now we didn't know where it was. We didn't know if it was still there. We didn't know if it was coming closer. I held my breath. I listened. Nothing, just my heartbeat, Julian's heartbeat. Our hearts were racing, pounding. They were echoing in the darkness. Then a voice. Faint, distant, but definitely a voice. Hello, human male. It was coming from one of the tunnels. Hello, the voice called again. Is someone there? Julian started to answer. I clamped my hand over his mouth. Don't, I whispered. Why not? It's another person. They can help us, he said against my palm. No, they can't. Think about it. We're lost, deep in unmapped tunnels, somewhere nobody should be. What are the chances someone else just happens to be here, happens to find us? Maybe they're searching for us, he said. They don't know where we are. Nobody does. That voice. I trailed off. What? He asked. It's wrong, the direction, the echo. Sound doesn't travel like that down here. It should bounce, distort, but that voice is clear, too clear. You're paranoid, he said. Maybe. The voice came again, closer. I know you're here. I can hear you, breathing, hiding. Why are you hiding? Definitely closer. It was coming from the tunnel to our right, moving toward us. Please, the voice said. I've been lost for so long. I need help. I need light. Did you bring light? Julian pulled my hand away from his mouth. We have to answer. He's lost, like us. We should help each other. Julian. But he was already calling out. We're here. In the chamber, we're here. The voice stopped. Silence. Then footsteps, slow, deliberate. They were getting closer. Thank God, the voice said. I've been alone for, I don't know how long, days maybe. I lost my light. I lost my way. I've been wandering, trying to find the exit. But there are so many tunnels, so many choices. I kept choosing wrong. The footsteps reached the entrance to our chamber. They stopped. Where are you? The voice asked. I can't see you. We're sitting against the back wall, Julian said. We don't have light either. Our batteries died. No light, the voice repeated. That's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Something about the tone made my skin crawl. I reached out in the darkness. I grabbed Julian's arm. What's your name? I asked. I was trying to keep my voice steady. My name, the voice sounded confused. I don't remember. Isn't that strange? I remember being down here. I remember walking. I remember the bones, but my name, it's gone. When did you enter the catacombs? I asked. I told you days ago, maybe weeks. Time is different down here. You'll learn that time stops meaning anything when there's no light, no day, no night, just the dark, forever. How did you survive weeks without food or water? I asked. Silence. Then, you ask strange questions. The footsteps started again. They were coming into the chamber, slowly, like whoever it was couldn't see, but they were moving with purpose, moving toward us. Julian squeezed my hand. He was shaking. Stay where you are, I said to the voice. Don't come any closer. Why not? I want to see you. I want to see your faces. You said you can't see. No light, remember, I said. Did I? The voice laughed. Wrong, all wrong. Maybe I lied. Maybe I can see perfectly well. Maybe I've learned to see in ways you can't imagine. The dark teaches you things. It opens you up. It shows you what's always been there. The footsteps were close now. Maybe 2 meters away, maybe less. I could hear breathing again. That same wet, labored breathing we'd heard before. What are you? I asked. I'm lost, the voice said. Just like you, lost in the dark, lost in the bones, lost in the city beneath the city, but I'm not alone anymore. Neither are you. Isn't that wonderful? We can be lost together. Something touched my foot. Cold, wet, not a hand, wrong shape, too many fingers. I screamed. I pulled my foot back. I scrambled to my feet. I pulled Julian up. We ran, blind, in complete darkness. We were smashing into walls, tripping over debris, but we were running, always running. Behind us, laughter, that same wrong voice. Laughing, laughing, it was getting farther away. We ran until we couldn't run anymore, until our lungs burned and our legs gave out. We collapsed in another tunnel, another section of endless limestone and bones. "What was that?" Julian gasped. "I don't know," I said. "It touched you. What did it feel like?" he asked. I didn't want to answer, I didn't want to remember, but the sensation was still there, on my foot, where it had touched me, cold, wet, and the shape, the wrong shape. "Not human," I said finally. We sat in silence. We were trying to catch our breath, trying to process what had just happened, trying to convince ourselves it was real, that we hadn't imagined it. Then Julian said something that made my blood freeze. "We're breathing air." "What?" I asked. "We're breathing. We've been down here for hours in sealed tunnels, underground. Where's the air coming from?" I hadn't thought about it, but he was right. We should have run out of oxygen. We should be suffocating, but the air was fresh, cool, moving, like there was ventilation, like the tunnels were breathing. "There must be shafts," I said. "Connections to the surface. That's how the air circulates." "Then why can't we find them? Why can't we follow the air and get out?" he asked. Another good question, one I couldn't answer. We sat in darkness, in silence. We were waiting for rescue that might never come, waiting for whatever was down here with us to find us again. And somewhere in the distance, echoing through 300 kilometers of tunnels, I heard singing. A woman's voice, high, clear. She was singing in French, a lullaby maybe, or a hymn, beautiful, haunting. It was coming from everywhere and nowhere. "Do you hear that?" I whispered. "Yes," Julian said. "Should we follow it?" I asked. I don't know anything anymore. But we didn't have a choice, because the singing was getting closer, and whatever was singing knew exactly where we were. The singing stopped. Not gradually, not fading away, just stopped mid-note, like someone had cut it off, like whoever was singing had suddenly vanished. The silence that followed was worse. Julian was shaking next to me. I could feel him trembling. Or maybe I was the one shaking and feeling it through him. In the dark, it was hard to tell where he ended and I began. "We need to move," I whispered. "Where?" he asked. "Away from here, away from the singing, away from whatever that was." "What if we run into it?" he asked. "What if we stay here and it finds us?" I said. He had no answer to that. We stood up slowly. My legs were stiff. They were cramping. We'd been sitting too long, or maybe not long enough. Time had stopped having meaning. I put my hand on the wall. I felt the bones under my fingers. I used them as a guide. I started walking. The tunnel sloped upward. That was good. Up meant closer to the surface, closer to exits, closer to rescue. But it also meant we were making noise. Our footsteps were echoing. Our breathing was loud. We were announcing our presence to anything listening. My hand touched something different. Not bone, not limestone, metal, cold, smooth. I explored it with my fingers, a pipe. It was running along the wall. It was covered in condensation. "Water pipe," Julian said. He'd found it too. "It probably runs to buildings above. We can follow it. It has to lead somewhere." We followed the pipe, hand over hand. The tunnel curved, it split. We stayed with the pipe. We were trusting it, believing it would save us. Then the pipe ended. It just stopped. The metal gave way to jagged edges, like something had torn it away. The floor beneath it was wet, a pool of water not deep, maybe ankle high, but cold, freezing. We had to wade through it, no choice. The tunnel continued on the other side. The water soaked through my shoes, my socks. My feet went numb within seconds. On the other side, we climbed out. We kept walking. The tunnel was getting narrower. The ceiling was lower. I had to duck, then crouch, then crawl. "I can't do this again," Julian said. "I can't crawl through another chatty air. Not in the dark. What if I get stuck? What if?" "Then we turn back," I said. "And go where?" he asked. He was right. We'd been walking for what felt like hours. No idea which direction. No idea how far. Turning back meant getting more lost. Going forward meant risking the narrow passage. "We keep going," I said. "Slowly, carefully, we'll make it." I didn't believe it, but saying it helped. It made the fear smaller. It made the dark less absolute. I started crawling. The tunnel was tight, not as bad as the chatty air, but close. The ceiling scraped my back. The walls pressed against my shoulders. I could feel the weight of Paris above me. 20 meters of limestone, millions of tons. All of it was held up by tunnels carved by people who'd been dead for centuries. The tunnel curved down. I slid. I couldn't stop myself. I skidded down a slope of loose rock and bone fragments. I landed hard on my hands and knees. Pain shot through my palms. It felt like I'd cut them. I couldn't see to check. "Marcus," Julian's voice came from above. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine, it's steep. Be careful," I called back. He came down, more controlled, more careful, but he still slipped at the end. He crashed into me. We both went down. We were tangled together in the dark. "Sorry," he muttered. "It's okay," I said. I stood up. I felt around. We were in another chamber, bigger than before. The air smelled different here. Older, damp, rotten. My hands found bones, lots of them. They were scattered everywhere. Broken, crushed. They weren't arranged. They weren't stacked, just chaos. Like something had torn through here. Like something had destroyed everything it could find. And in the middle of it all, something wooden, smooth, carved. "What is this?" I said out loud. "What?" Julian asked. "There's something here. Wood, it feels like. A door maybe, or a box." I explored it with my hands. Rectangular, about 2 meters long, 1 meter wide. It was raised off the ground on legs. No, a platform, stone platform. Understanding hit me like ice water. "It's a tomb," I said. "What?" he asked. "A tomb. We found someone's tomb." Julian's breathing got faster. "Whose tomb?" I felt around. I was looking for an inscription, a plaque, something. My fingers found carved letters. They were worn smooth by time, hard to read by touch. I traced them, slowly, carefully. Philibert. "Philibert," I said out loud. "Philibert Espert." Silence. Then, "That's not possible." I'm reading the letters right here. Philibert Espert. Lost November 3rd, 1793. Found 11 years later. But his tomb is in the restricted section. Rue Henry Barbas, under Boulevard St. Mitchell. We can't be there. We didn't go that way, he said. Then the tunnels connect, or we've been walking in circles, or... A sound cut me off. It was coming from above. From the tunnel we'd slid down, scraping, like something being dragged, like something heavy moving through the narrow passage. "It followed us," Julian whispered. The scraping got closer. Whatever it was big, too big for the tunnel, but it was coming anyway. It was forcing itself through, breaking rocks, crushing bones, determined. "We need to hide," I said. "Where?" he asked. Good question. In complete darkness, hiding is impossible. Anything with the ability to see would find us instantly. But maybe whatever was coming was blind too. Maybe it hunted by sound, by smell, by some other sense we didn't understand. I grabbed Julian. I pulled him down behind the tomb. We pressed ourselves flat against the stone platform. We held our breath. We waited. The scraping reached the chamber. It stopped. Something large entered. I could feel the displacement of air. I could hear breathing. That same wet, labored breathing. But it was different now. Deeper, more present. It moved through the chamber, slowly, methodically, searching. I could hear it touching things, picking up bones, throwing them aside. It was getting closer to the tomb, closer to us. Then it spoke. Not the voice from before. Different, feminine, old, raspy. "Je sais que vous êtes ici. I know you're here." French native speaker. The words came out wrong, distorted, like the mouth speaking them wasn't shaped right. "Vous ne pouvez pas vous cacher." You can't hide. Closer, right on the other side of the tomb. Maybe a meter away, maybe less. Les tunnels se souviennent. The tunnels remember. I felt Julian tense next to me. He was ready to run. I grabbed his arm. I held him still. Running meant making noise. Noise meant death. The thing on the other side of the tomb went quiet. I could still hear it breathing. I could still feel its presence. But it had stopped moving. It had stopped searching. Then I heard something worse. Sniffing like a dog, like it was smelling the air, trying to catch our scent. It had found us. "Courier," it said, "run." We ran. Blind, desperate, we were crashing through the chamber. We found a tunnel by accident. We followed it. We turned left, right, left again. We were just running, not thinking, not planning, just trying to survive. Behind us, pursuit, fast, too fast, gaining. The tunnel opened up. We burst into another chamber, bigger. I could tell from the echo. Our footsteps rang out. They bounced off walls far away. We kept running across the chamber. We were looking for another exit. My foot hit something. I tripped. I fell hard. My head cracked against stone. Pain exploded behind my eyes, white light, then darkness, darker than before. I heard Julian stop. I heard him come back. I felt his hands on my shoulders. "Marcus, Marcus," he shouted. I tried to answer. I couldn't. My mouth wouldn't work. My head was spinning. I tasted blood, copper, salt. The footsteps entered the chamber. They stopped, waiting. "Leave him alone," Julian shouted. "Please, he's hurt. We don't want to be here. We just want to leave." Silence, then, "Person ne part." Nobody leaves. "We're not like you. We're alive. We have families, people looking for us," Julian yelled. "Nous avions aussi des familles." We had families too. The footsteps started again. Slower now, no rush. We weren't going anywhere. I forced my eyes open. I tried to focus. I saw light, faint, red. It was coming from somewhere ahead, not bright, just a glow, barely visible. "Light," I croaked. "What?" Julian asked. "There's light ahead. Go," I said. "I'm not leaving you," he said. "You have to. Get help. Bring them back. It's the only way." He hesitated. The footsteps were getting closer. We had seconds, maybe less. "Go," I shouted. He went. I heard him running, toward the light, toward whatever exit or entrance or crack in the earth that was letting light in. The footsteps stopped next to me. I could feel presence, massive, looming, wrong. "Why did you come here?" the voice asked. in English now, accented, strange. "Why do any of you come here? This is not your place. This is our place, the place of the dead, the forgotten, the lost." "I didn't mean to," I said. "I was just filming, just documenting. I'll leave. I'll never come back, I swear." "You don't understand," the voice said. It was sad now, almost gentle. "The catacombs don't let you leave, not really. Even if you find your way out, even if you climb those ladders and see the sun again, part of you stays, always in the dark, in the bones, calling you back, until one day you return, and you never leave again." I felt something touch my face. Cold, wet, too many fingers like before, but it was gentle this time, almost caring. "Sleep now," the voice said. "Sleep and forget, it's easier that way." I felt myself fading. The darkness was getting deeper. The pain was getting distant. Part of me wanted to let go, to sleep, to forget, to stop fighting. But another part, smaller but stubborn, refused. I thought about Philibert Espert, alone in the dark, wandering for days, weeks maybe, his candle going out, his hope dying, but he kept walking, he kept searching, even knowing he was lost, even knowing he'd probably die, he kept trying. 11 years later, they found him, meters from an exit. He'd been so close, so impossibly close, but in the dark he'd walked right past it. I wouldn't make that mistake. I forced my eyes open. The light was still there, dim, red. It was coming from a tunnel to my right. Julian had run toward it. Had he made it? Had he found a way out? The presence next to me was still there, waiting, watching. "Why do you stay?" I asked. "Stay," it asked. "Down here in the dark, why not leave? Why not find the light?" I said. Silence long then. "We can't. The bones hold us, the tunnels trap us. We died here, we'll be here forever." "But you're not dead, you're talking. Moving, you're alive," I said. "Are we?" The voice sounded confused, lost. "Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I think I'm still breathing, still dreaming, still waiting for morning. But morning never comes down here, just the dark. Forever." I sat up, slowly. My head was throbbing, my vision was swimming. I could see the shape next to me now. Vague. It was outlined in the faint red light. Human-shaped, mostly, but wrong, elongated, twisted. Like it had been down here so long it had started to change. Started to become part of the catacombs itself. "What's your name?" I asked. "Name?" it seemed to think. I don't. There was a name before, but it's gone now, lost like everything else." "Then come with me," I said. "To the light, we'll find your name again, find who you were." "I can't," it said. "Why not?" I asked. "Because," it paused, "because I'm afraid. What if I reach the light and there's nothing? What if I'm already dead? What if this is all there is?" I stood up, unsteady. The room was spinning. I held out my hand, into the darkness, toward where I thought the figure was. "Then let's find out together," I said. For a long moment, nothing. Then I felt something take my hand, cold, wrong, but also desperate, clinging. We walked toward the light, slowly, together, two lost souls in 300 kilometers of death. The light got brighter, red, pulsing. It was coming from a crack in the wall, narrow but wide enough. I could see it now, an exit, a way out. I looked back, at the figure. I could see it clearly now. Or rather, I could see that there was nothing to see, just shadow, just darkness given form, just the memory of something that used to be human. "I can't go further," it said. "Yes, you can," I said. "No, this is as far as I go. This is where I end. But you can still leave, still see the sun, still remember what it means to be alive." It let go of my hand. It stepped back. It was dissolving into the darkness. "Thank you," I said. "Ni reviens pas," it whispered. "Don't come back." I squeezed through the crack, into red light, emergency lighting, a metro tunnel. I could hear trains in the distance. I could feel vibration through the floor. I could see signs, Denver Trocero, 3 stops from where I lived. I climbed up. I found a maintenance ladder. I climbed higher. I pushed through a grate. I emerged onto a platform. People were everywhere, staring, pointing. I must have looked insane. I was covered in mud and blood and limestone dust. My eyes were wild. My hands were shaking. Security came, then police, then paramedics. They asked questions I couldn't answer. They wrapped me in blankets I didn't deserve. They took me to a hospital I didn't want to go to. Julian was already there, alive, whole. He was telling the same story I would tell, lost in the catacombs, hours of wandering, finding an exit by accident, by luck, by grace. The police searched. They sent teams into the tunnels, looking for whatever we'd encountered, looking for evidence, looking for answers. They found nothing. No voices, no presence. No thing that shouldn't exist, just bones, 6 million of them. They were arranged in patterns that humans had made, stacked, ordered, silent. The investigation ended after 3 days. They chalked it up to panic, to hallucination, to the psychological effects of being lost in complete darkness. The mind creates monsters when there's nothing else to see. Maybe they're right. Maybe we imagined it all. Maybe the dark played tricks. Maybe the fear made us see things that weren't there. But I don't think so, because when I dream, I still hear that voice. I still feel those cold, wet fingers. I still see that figure dissolving into shadow. And sometimes, late at night, I find myself walking, heading toward Rue de la Tomissoir, standing above the manhole we entered through, feeling the pull, the call, the invitation to return. The catacombs remember, that's what it said. The tunnels remember. And so do I. I remember everything. The dark, the fear, the loss, the moments when I thought I'd never see light again, when I thought I'd become another name on another tomb, another story told to scare tourists. But I also remember something else. That moment when I held out my hand, when I offered to walk toward the light with something that had been alone for so long it had forgotten what it meant to be human. And I remember what it gave me in return, not salvation, not escape, but a gift more valuable than either. Hope that even in the darkest places, even in the deepest tunnels, even surrounded by 6 million dead, even lost beyond all reason, hope remains. And sometimes, just sometimes, hope is enough. I never went back to the catacombs. I never will. But part of me stayed there, just like it said, in the dark, in the bones, waiting. And some nights when Paris sleeps and the metro stops running and the city above grows quiet, I swear I can hear singing. A woman's voice. High, clear, beautiful, haunting. And I wonder if it's still down there, still searching, still hoping, still waiting for someone to take its hand and walk toward the light. I hope it finds that someday. I hope they all do. Philibert Espert, the nameless voice, all the lost souls who went down into the dark and never came back. I hope the light finds them, eventually, in the end. Because nobody should be alone in the dark forever, not even the dead. Especially not the dead.